moved on to the crankcases, and so I have the transmission out right here, and the shift drum forks, and the crankshaft. It was already connected, and the balancer, the crank balancer. Um, I know that all these bearings are good. Um, I installed them the first time go. Um, so right now, what I'm doing is cleaning the mating surfaces of the cases, and with that, a lot of people will have different opinions about this, but I always use a razor. It all depends on how you handle it. Like, you definitely don't want to be digging into like the surface or the metal. Um, Also, all you have to do is like just, and also like there's certain times, special times, but every time when I try to clean, I clean with the razor facing the opposite way where I'm going. So it's just like scratching it off, and like just lightly. And also, what I like to do is like, I don't like to go like into like surfaces where it's like there's only this surface, and like I'm going like this. That can be um, it, like you can point different angles to it, and like take material out in certain um, sides of it. What I like to do, since this razor is pretty wide, I like to find another surface and like use that as a guide, and then, but like I'm focusing on this, but also you can also focus on this as well, and just like, so you can get a good clean, even, flat scrape. And there are times where like there's some material that's really tough to take out, where I flip the razor and I have to go against it. But when it comes to this, I also use that the same thing, like different surfaces, and like also like try to put my razor as flat, as horizontal to the material as possible, and just lightly, very lightly, like you don't even have to put much force. I actually put some weight onto like the surface where I'm not going to be scraping, so I put more down force to that, and then with my other hand just move this around like that, and that usually tends to work. If not, then I just put a little bit more force. But you don't want to be like having this perpendicular to your material and like digging into it, and like if you have a heavy hand, I do not recommend this. You just have to be really careful and really patient. This kind of stuff takes a lot of patience, and if you don't have that, then find out a different way to do this, because I've been doing this using a razor. A lot of people do not recommend this, but I do it, and I'm not telling you you should do it, but this works for me. So right now I'm just, I clean this side of the crankcase, cleaning this part of the crankcase where the crankshaft and the balancer is at. When I first split, the second time I split this, I replaced, any bearings that weren't good, and also oil seals. But when I noticed, when I took this apart for the second time, I noticed that one of the oil seals right here got damaged during the removal. So I'm gonna have to replace this. So I was like, oh shit, I can't try to make these today, which I was aiming for, but that oil seal is on the outside of the crankcases. So I'll still be able to like put the transmission in, like set, and then put my Yamaha bond, and seal the cases together. But that I'm gonna use that. Actually, I can try to do it now. Like, damaged. Oops. So this is the seal that is damaged. So I'm gonna get my seal remover and try to remove this. And this is a special tool and it comes out so easy. Rotate this and there we go. Yeah. I don't know if you can see this. There's this little right here, a little pinch, and it stayed that way, so that's bad. And yeah, so I'm gonna have to get a new seal for that, but I can still install. I made these crankcases, so right now you see the wheel balancer fell off, but just place it back in here. Yeah. The first time when I put this whole engine back together, well, took it apart and then put it back together, I didn't have a shop manual for it. So I actually have the climber manual for it, and also I have a copy of the original Yamaha service manual. So this one's more old school. It's the brand's shop manual. It's pretty basic, but if you haven't done a one of these rebuilds, the climber manual is pretty good. It shows extra steps, but you can't totally rely on a climber or a Heinz because I just don't like their layout, and like when they lay out all the specifications at the end of each chapter, the original Honda and Yamaha manuals, they show the specifications right during when you're reading the steps. So that's kind of how I like to work. I like to know the information right away when I'm like, I don't want to be flipping pages and I'm like, okay, I have to like so I like to alternate in manuals when I'm rebuilding stuff. So I'm going to continue cleaning the surface and then find out how to put the transmission on and all that, and I'll get back to you guys. Hey you guys, here in the garage. So as you can see, I put the cases back together, and now I'm just working on putting the sides back together. Alright you guys, I'm on the home stretch right here. So got this part, the right side together where the clutch is, and got that stator under the camshaft and all that. I just need to put the cam chain tensioner, which is right here. And then also I have to remove this old neutral light switch and install this new one, because the little part where the little screw is for the old one is I think the threads are gone. It just, when I turn it, it keeps spinning, so it doesn't tighten up. And then I need to cover this up, and I have this, but I originally didn't have a gasket for this, and I put like the liquid gasket on there, so I just have to clean the surface to this. And then also, if you can see right here, there's some wire exposed right here, so that white wire, yeah, this part actually feels really hard, and so I'm just gonna cut that open and then fix that up, and then put some heat shrink on there and put a new plastic to this, make it more flexible. And I put this one on here when I first got the bike. I'll probably open it up, make sure the wires inside are pretty good, and then I have a new gasket for this, so I won't be using the liquid gasket. So but yeah, it's almost done, and if it runs, we'll see. But yeah, it's been pretty good, and I'm not sure if the next video I'll show the whole thing, or probably have it already all buttoned up and installed in the on the xt200 right here. So I found a seat. But yeah, almost done. Stay tuned for the next video. If I don't have the whole thing buttoned up, it'll probably already be in the frame, and I'll be trying to start it up. And if it runs, check compression and see if it's a healthy engine.